In this episode, I'm giving you a weekend assignment, and I promise it is the most fun homework you've ever been assigned in your life. Sexy After 50. Improve sex and intimacy by healing your nervous system so you finally feel turned on and confident. Okay, you're going to find out why your brain is actually wired to want novelty in the bedroom, and why that has nothing to do with being bored with your partner. 2, you're going to learn what researchers call the 4% rule and why it means the bar for new is so much lower than you think. And then 3, you're leaving this episode with a specific, doable assignment for this weekend. No planning required, no uncomfortable conversations, and even better, no pressure. Girl, welcome to the Friday reset. I'm getting you ready for a fabulous weekend. So let's start with what is actually happening in your brain when sex starts to feel predictable. There is a system in your nervous system, and we talk about it so much, I don't want to insult you. If y'all remember Jacques Panksepp, which I know I pronounce his name different every time, which is the fun of hanging out with me. You never know what I'm going to say how. But he is the one who researched and came up with the seeking system. That is responsible for curiosity, anticipation, and the drive to explore. Taking these glasses off. My goodness, I was wondering why I was having such a headache. Okay, if you're not watching, hop over to YouTube. I launch these on YouTube as well. Okay, so it is one of the most fundamental motivational systems in the mammalian brain. We're a mammal. And here is the thing about this seeking system. It does not activate for things it already knows. It activates for what is just beyond the familiar. Not radically unfamiliar, that kicks us somewhere else. Just slightly beyond the edge of what you already know. So when sex follows the exact same script every time, and girl, some of y'all have been married 30, 40, 50 years, and it's, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. And your desire is, again, smoking a cigarette in the corner going, boring. We have to spice it up a little bit. We got to change the script so that it's not the same day, the same position, the same sequence. The seeking system is going to go quiet when that happens. And it has nothing to do with the love of our partner. And it's not because our desire has died, because she hasn't. She's going to hang with us until the end. It's because your brain has filed that particular experience under already mapped, no data needed, boring. I always picture the desire to smoke a cigarette in the corner. And I don't know why she smokes. It's just a mind thing that goes on. But anyway, a brain that is not seeking, a brain not in that seeking mode even, is a brain that is not generating the neurochemical conditions for desire. Did you hear that? It's a neuroscience kind of thing, neurochemical conditions. You're not broken. You don't need more hormones. You need hormones, don't get me wrong, but there's so much more at play here. And girl, it is not a relationship problem. However, I'm going to put a period there and hover for just a hot minute. I've done lots of marriage counseling in the 30 years I've sat in a counseling room. A lot of couples have a lot of resentment they need to work through. If that is you, and there's no judgment or blame, there's only love and hope, work on that. If I tell you, I mean, sometimes we need a divorce at 63, and sometimes we need to just work things out because it's way easier, all the wealth we've built, to keep it and keep those grandkids just seeing one set of grandparents. So if we can work through it, fabulous. But we've got to work through that resentment so that it isn't a relationship problem. But essentially what the point I'm trying to make is that this is a predictability problem. And it has a remarkably simple intervention. And it always easy. Why do we complicate things? And maybe it's just me, but we complicate things. I know I have. I'm not saying you have. Well, so here's the research that changed how I think about novelty in long-term relationships, long-term intimacy. Psychologists studying what they call the challenge skills balance found that humans do not need dramatic change to activate the brain's reward and engagement systems. We need approximately 4% difference from what we already do. 4%. Not a complete overhaul. Not a new identity. Not a conversation that takes 3 hours and a bottle of wine and then some to get through. If you normally stabilize yourself on both forearms in a particular position, extending one arm 4% different. If you normally have sex in the evening, Saturday morning is 4% different. If you normally stay in the bedroom, the living room couch is 4% different. I tell you, Kelly and I mean, I'm not, y'all don't want to hear about us, but I met this man in 92, early 92, and still he gives me butterflies, and we're always doing 4%. Always doing 4%. It's just fun. It's that connection and that getting to hang out and that getting to experiment and explore and go through life together is so fun. So think about your partner, 4% difference. Stabilize yourself on both arms, extend an arm forward, 4% difference. Do it on the sofa instead of the bed, 4% difference. Do it in the morning instead of the evening, 4% difference. It's not rocket science. It's not a huge ask. What it takes to get desire back online and you get to feel alive, it's not much. So what happens at 4% is this. The brain registers novelty just strong enough to activate the seeking system, release a small hit of dopamine, and create the neurochemical conditions that make the body lean in rather than check out. Cigarette in the corner. Not overwhelming, not threatening, just enough to wake up the nervous system. And here is the somatic piece that matters for we gals over 50 specifically. When the nervous system has been in chronic protection mode, which, as we talk about constantly on this show, is the default state for most women who have spent decades over functioning. The body stops allocating resources toward pleasure. But novelty is one of the fastest ways to interrupt that pattern. A small, safe, chosen change in context or sensation signals to the nervous system, this is not the same old drill. Something is different here. And in that moment of gentle surprise, the body shifts from automatic pilot into presence, from familiar numbness into something that actually registers. That is what we are after this weekend. I'm not talking fireworks, although, this posted after July 4th, but you probably just saw some fireworks. But we're not after that. We're after presence, which is lasting. So before I give you the assignment, I want to pause for just a hot minute because we're talking about something very important today. Nervous system presence, the capacity to actually feel something during intimacy, choosing curiosity over autopilot. This is the core of everything I am building in a new program called Alive. 28 days designed to rebuild your capacity for pleasure, presence, desire from the inside out. Girl, it's not a quick fix, not a checklist, a real guided journey back into your body with somatic practices, nervous system tools, and the kind of support that actually moves that needle. It launches in August, and if you are hearing this today and it is landing, if you've been quietly thinking, yes, this is exactly what I need, I want you to stay close because more details are coming soon, or follow me on my socials. I talk about it a lot. Okay, back to your weekend, and let's talk about what you're actually going to do. Dun, dun, dun. Girl, here's what I need you to do. I'm inviting it. I'm not needing it. I'm inviting it. I'm calling it the intimacy experiment. Lab coat on, mad scientist, just trying to figure some stuff out. Curiosity, self-compassion, having some fun. The only rule is this. One thing, 4% difference this weekend. Girl, think about it. 4%. I'm not talking 90, 100. I'm talking 4% difference. I'm going to give you 5 options, and I want you to pick one that makes you feel a small little flicker of curiosity with just a little edge of, I'm not sure about that. That is your hello. That edge is your 4%. That is exactly where you want to be. Okay, you ready? Let me get comfy here. Okay. Option 1, change the location. I'm not talking a different country. I'm talking the living room, the shower, outside, on the back porch, after dark, if you're feeling bold. Oh, that is so fun. The bench at the kitchen table. Your nervous system registers space differently. A familiar body in a different space reads as novel. Okay, option 2, change the timing. If you're an evening couple, try a Saturday morning before either of you has fully woken up and started managing the day. The nervous system is softer in the morning. The performance pressure of the day has not yet arrived. Option 3, add one prop, a blindfold, a different texture, silk, a warm towel, something soft. Not a sex toy if that feels like too much, just one object that changes the sensory experience. Texture and temperature activate the CT afferent nerve fibers in your skin, the ones that signal safety and pleasure directly to the nervous system in ways that routine touch no longer does. Option 4, change one move. Not the whole thing, one thing. Stay in a position you know and simply slow down to half the speed. Slowing down is the most underrated erotic intervention available to women over 50 because speed is performance and slowness, girl, that's presence. Presence is what sensation longs for. It requires to land. Okay, here's the final one. Option 5. Say one thing out loud that you have never said. Not a performance, one true sentence about what you're actually experiencing in your body that feels good right there. I want you to stay right there. We gals really need that. Guys don't always understand. For us, they need to stay what they're doing for a hot minute because it takes us a little time to get to where we need to go. So I invite you to educate him about that in this one sentence. But one sentence, that is it. Verbal presence is a nervous system cue. It signals to your own body that you're actually in the room. So pick one, do it this weekend. That is the experiment. So, one weekend of 4% novelty will give you a moment of presence, possibly pleasure, definitely data about what your body responds to. But here's what happens when you do this weekly. When novelty is small and consistent, rather than dramatic and rare, the nervous system starts to associate intimacy with curiosity rather than obligation. That shift from obligation to curiosity is one of the most significant changes I see in women who come through my work. And it does not come from a breakthrough conversation or a sudden hormonal fix. It comes from small moments of this was slightly different. And I noticed it stacked up over weeks until the body begins to orient toward intimacy rather than away from it. And research on self-expanding activities in long-term relationships, oh, man, we got to think about that, because out of Amy Muse's lab at New York University, it's not New York, it's York University, found that couples who engaged in novel shared activities reported significantly higher sexual desire and relationship satisfaction over time than couples who maintained routine. Not dramatic adventure, novel shared activities, the 4% done together consistently. Your seeking system does not need a new partner. It needs a new angle, which I don't mean this to be about a bunch of commercials, but I'm excited. In December, I'm launching my Radiance box for couples over 50. And every month, you're going to get a new box full of all kinds of novel adventures for you and your partner. It's the 4% kind. It's not the big, huge, well, some of them might be, but it's, but the Radiance box is about nervous system regulation and getting pleasure and desire back online for the couple. So watch for that in December. But again, your seeking system does not need a new partner. It needs a new angle. So your brain is not broken when sex starts to feel like nothing. It's simply bored in the background smoking that cigarette. I must have seen a movie that I'm thinking about when I say that. But bored is one of the most solvable problems in intimacy because it does not require a new relationship, a difficult conversation, or a complete overhaul of your sex life. It requires 4%. One thing different this weekend. One thing. The seeking system activates for what is just beyond familiar. The CT afferents in your skin come alive with novel sensation. The nervous system shifts from protection to presence when the environment says something is slightly, safely different. The intimacy experiment is not about excitement for excitement's sake. It is about teaching your nervous system that intimacy is still a place where something can happen, where you might actually feel something, where showing up is worth it. You've been with your partner. You've got investment here. How awesome is it to be able to find intimacy and connection still? And this is your recipe for that. So remember, girl, one thing this weekend, do the experiment. And I'd love to know how it went. But I will see you next week. Sexy After 50. Improve sex and intimacy by healing your nervous system so you finally feel turned on and confident.